Welcome to SpankOdds.
Hey, welcome to SpankOdds FAQ number 2. It's been a while. Been meaning to bang this out for a long time, but just didn't get a chance to. So here we go. Let's talk about a couple of frequently asked questions. First off, how do you sign up for SpankOdds and how long will it be free? You sign up for SpankOdds on SpankOdds.com. How long it's going to be free? It's guaranteed to be free up until the start of football 2023. We kept extending it. First, it was going to be after the Super Bowl. Then it was going to be up until the baseball start. Now it's going to be up until football start. Could that be the final extension? Most likely it will be, but there's no promises. Who knows? We might even extend it more. It depends how things are going and how much we believe people are using it and how we try to estimate how many clients that we're going to be able to convert from free clients to paid clients. So if we don't have enough free clients, then we're going to probably keep extending it until we believe we have that conversion rate nice, so that then we could start flipping it. Because once we flip the pay switch on, it's never coming off. Okay, if you're having an issue with SpankOdds on a PC, you got to do a clean install for a PC. There's an FAQ video on SpankOdds.com. Check that out, but you go to Control Panel, Programs, uninstall a program. Make sure you deinstall Java and all the SpankOdds you have in there. Reboot the machine, then reinstall Only SpankOdds. When you reinstall SpankOdds, it comes with a Java version, so you should be good to go. We have links in there. We're going to put it in the show notes for a PC install and for a Mac install. If you've done a clean install on a PC and still have an issue, try installing a VPN. Sometimes your router might be blocking certain ports that we're using, or something might be happening. So try to use a VPN. You could search for one on Google, and after you do that, if you're still having an issue, send a DM support to @SpankOdds at Twitter. If you're on Mac, if you're getting an error identified developer, then there's a way we'll have a link there in the show notes for you to be able to fix that an unidentified developer error. If you need a Mac, there's a Mac to JNLP file that we have for installation. We'll also put that into the show notes. It's very important whenever we send you an email with the different install files that you don't just click on that install file. You want to copy and paste that install file into the browser. You'll also need to modify the security settings for Java on a Mac to allow it to run. So for the Mac, you go to System Preferences, Security and Privacy. Then under Allow Apps Downloaded From, there will be a checkbox that says Allow Launch. So that's all that stuff when it comes to installation. We'll talk about a couple of features, try to make this a quick one, and then eventually I'm going to release a giant FAQ version to kind of bring everything together. How do you show added and extra games? How do you show props in NBA and college basketball? So really simple. Right now I'm on a custom tab. I just call this tab ZZZ. If you want to show different props or added and extra games, you would just click added and extra games right here. I click added and extra games, and all of a sudden, there are no extra games today, so we're not going to show any. If I had tomorrow's schedule, which should be a busy day, college basketball, I add all these, and I click that, and then we'll have, if you just scroll down, the added and extra games, you could tell by the game number, they're usually in the 300,000. So these are all added and extra games. Binghamton against UMass Lowell. Maryland, Baltimore County against New Hampshire. Again, if you try to bet this type of shit, you're going to get banned real fast. Merrimack against Sacred Heart. Who's betting that stuff? I don't even know. But that's up to you. If you want to look at these lines, you can. If you want to show them, you can. And if you don't want to show them, you would just say edit, and then you would uncollect these added and extra games, save, and then of course all these games, these 300,000 games, are gone. Same thing goes for props. There's no props for college basketball, but if you were an NBA, and this goes the same thing for like a basketball tab. If you have a basketball tab, you can manage, there's include add and extra games, you can include props in there as well, et cetera, et cetera. So it's, just, you got to use these check boxes accordingly, and then you'll be able to see that way. Okay, let's talk about all the bookmakers that we have. This is going to be So that was question number 6 we just talked about. I have to label these. All the other first 5 questions were related to installation. Number 7, go through all the bookies and tell who they are, just like you did in FAQ. I'm just reading what my buddy Scott is telling me to do. I'm going to go through FAQ video number 1 and mention again about contacting a bookie that you wanted added to SpankOdds and have the bookie reach out to SpankOdds to be added. Also mention you don't add bookies that don't pay and immediately kick out players. Exactly. We're not going to just put any bookmaker on the screen. If a bookmaker is notoriously a slow payer or no pay, they will not be added. Obviously, the regulated joints don't really have that, but for the offshore joints, if it's known that they don't pay, we don't want you on our screen. To go through it, there's so many different bookmakers to go through. I'm logged in with me, so believe it or not, we probably, I don't know if you guys notice here, we have alternate lines, Pinnacle alternate lines here that that we just recently added. So you have the Pinnacle line, and there's different alternate lines, which is plus or minus a half a point on Pinnacle. I'm going to go through all the bookies and mention what each bookie is when I do everything, because there's new bookies coming in, and that's going to change. So we'll go through that again soon. Number 8, go through the books that you can see the betting limits and how to see them and what that means. Okay, great. So let's just look at this. Let's just say S411. We have this. If you notice, side total money line, STM, side total money line. That's what the limits are taking on this Canisius Rider game. 6 times on the side, 2 on a total, 2 on a money line. We have that available for Sports 1-1. Some people call that Chris. We have that available for Pinnacle, etc. And we also have that available for Circa. And I gotta just find the Circa here because I've been moving stuff around for testing purposes. And I don't even know where Circa is, but yeah, Circa is another one. And then there's a few more. I think Caesars might have the limits. Yep, Caesars has limits, which are pretty bad. Side total money line. But you get the point. If you point at a line and you see STM, that kind of tells you if there's a side total money line limit on there. Otherwise, we don't have the limit. Okay. Next, number 9, go through the display settings. Stage, final section, halftime, in progress, columns, 50. Okay, we're going to go through these display settings, go through them again. Columns, display settings. So what does this mean? There's a couple of new things added since we last talked. Horizontal border width. You can make the width on the horizontal border. Let's just make that a 5. See how that looks. Ready? Boom, 5. Save. Oh, wow. Things are a lot thicker on the horizontal border. If you want to make, this back, and if you want to, let's just say, make the vertical border thick, call that a 5. This way, we'll separate the columns a little bit more. You could do that if you want. To each his own. The standard is going to be 1 and 1. You can make the border color. We have a default. We can make it like black if you want. We'll just look at that black, and let's make this one, a 5, and then we'll just say save, and then I guess that's black. I can't even tell. No, it looks gray to me. But no, that's a horizontal. Sorry, vertical has to be black. Horizontal still a 1. So we'll make the vertical black, save, and there it is. If you want to make vertical lines black, whatever you want to do with this, we try to make it as fully customizable as possible. Default value, this is important. For basketball, like now we're on the basketball tab. So the default value, which is this thing right here, default view, is going to be sides and totals. That's usually what we want to see. Let's just say you're not a totals better, but you want to keep things on default view. You can make this just sides if you want. So then you save. Then whenever you're on a basketball tab, you're only going to see sides. That's it. And then you could just change that accordingly. I'm going to make this back to 1 because this is irritating me. It's a little bit too thick. And I'm going to restore this to sides and totals. Let's talk about, let's make that nice and okay. So let's go through the final section, halftime, and in progress. So notice how in progress here is on the bottom. Games are in progress right now. What you could do is you could make it so that these in progress games, they don't move when they go in progress. So if I say save here, notice how game 861, they're still in game number order. There's no in progress section. So you could change that if you want to make it so that the games don't go to an in progress section. Usually what we have is we have games that started go on the bottom. That's the default. Some people don't like that. They want to keep all the games exactly where they are. That's how you do that. Same thing goes for when the games go to halftime. The default and SpankOdds is when a game goes to halftime, it goes to the top of the screen because the halftime is it's a temporary thing. It lasts 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on the sport, and they go up to the top. If you don't want that, if you want it to, again, stay where it is, you just uncheck that. It'll be X. It will stay there. Last but not least, if a game is final, when a game goes final, usually we have finals go to the bottom. Me personally, I don't want to look at a game that's final because I want to look at games I can really bet. I don't need to look at the final game. So people want to say, no, I want to look at the scores while I'm betting. I want to sweat the scores, or in progress. I want to sweat the in progress. So I'm looking at lines, to each his own. Then you would uncheck that. So that's what these check marks are for. Right then and there. Okay. Let's also talk about the columns, the fit date. So columns automatically fit the data. What does this check thing do? Columns automatically fit the data means when things move, the column adjusts accordingly. So if I go like this, let's just say here, we'll click save here. And if this thing's moving, let's just say right here, we have different, okay, I'm going to just go right here, move this over, boom. Notice how it automatically just shifted to the right. All right, that's something we're working on. You guys just saw it. You guys don't have this yet. This is an off the board thing. So when Pinnacle takes the game off the board, we're notified of it. That just slipped. You guys weren't even supposed to see that, but since you did, you did. So we're notified when a game comes off the board. That's a feature we'll be releasing eventually. We're still testing it out and whatnot, or I just don't feel like releasing it, to be honest. But we'll definitely eventually release it one day. But notice how this thing goes. It automatically, I can't scrunch it up and just see nothing. Now, if I went to display settings and I'm like, no, I don't want to automatically fit the data, save. Now things get crunched up. Ready? If I push this DraftKings all the way here, guess what? It's going to stay like that. Now, some people like it like that. You know what? I'll figure it out. I'll move it my own. I don't want the program to do it. You could do that if you want. So then, it's up to you. You got to move it up by yourself. So people like to make it super duper tight. I want to tighten that thing up as much as possible. To each his own. That's what that whole display settings does, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Columns fit date. Yep, alternating colors. American odds. People want to use a so American odds is the standard. If you want to look at decimal odds, you just click that. Let's go back to data, and then boom, for all you decimal odds people out there, there you go. -110 is default, so it won't show the odds. So -110 and 1.91 is going to be standard, but it'll show. I don't even know if this is the right way to display it in Europe, but this is how we thought the way it's done. One thing that we're going to eventually do, a lot of people have requested, hey, listen, I like to use decimal odds, but my line move alerts and my line seeker alerts, you give them an American odds. We will eventually bring everything to decimal odds. If you're a decimal odds guy, just understand that you're the minority of user. So that feature request is on the bottom of the list, unfortunately. We wanted to put the decimal odds out there for people to use. But if you want to see alerts and stuff in decimal odds format, that's a little bit tough right now. It's going to definitely happen, trust me, but not anytime, it's not on the forefront. So just understand that. And alternating colors, this thing is an alternating color. So right now I have this thing, it's alternating color gray. You could change it. So you could make every alternating color this color. I'm colorblind, so I don't even know what the color is. But now you could make it, it's so customizable. You make it whatever you want. So alternating colors is just making every other row a color besides white. Now you could say, you know what? I don't want to have alternating colors. I want to have them all the same color. Change that, boom, and then everything's just white. You can do it that way. Whatever way you want to do it, it's up to you on SpankOdds. Number 10, let's talk about the search feature. Okay, so the search feature is something that if you want to, let's just say there's not that many games going on. Let me try to manage this soccer. We'll click all this crap and then we'll save here. Okay, so there's a lot of soccer here, right? Now, let's just say somebody said, hey, listen, man, I really like Tottenham over here, right? So you're like, oh man, I gotta look through all this shit. I don't even know what Tottenham is. So you go over here and then you search Tottenham, T-O-T-T, or you can just search a piece of it. Click that search, and then all of a sudden, notice how that it scrolls down to you, and then it will show you Tottenham, and it will highlight the game for you. This is important if you're looking at UFC or boxing or golf. If you're trying to look for a guy, if you're trying to look for a fighter, and it's hard to look, there's a lot of people on the card, et cetera, et cetera. So instead of having to look, you could do it. This also will work by game number. So let's just say I want to go to game 209-329, which is Mexican Primera Division, Club Tijuana, 209-329. I'll scroll all the way up, let's just say, and I'll go 209-329, and I'll click the search. And then all of a sudden, if you notice on the bottom of your screen, it comes to that Club Tijuana. So that's how you use the search feature. It works by game number or team. Urgent messages. So we have all the urgent messages that have happened. There's only one, something went off the board. You would click this down. Any urgent message that happened is going to be here, whether that be an injury, etc., whether it be any of your line moves. So any customized urgent messages, line moves, line seekers, which we've talked about, limit change alerts, all your alerts, everything is going to show up right there. Any system alerts that we've sent you will come up there. Time change alerts that we've sent you will come up there. So everything is going to be stored there. If you log out and log back in, only the system alerts are going to be there for the last, I think it's 12 hours or 24 hours. I'm not sure. So you'll still see some last alerts, particularly injuries more than anything. But obviously line seekers and line moves, it's not working at that time because that's personalized. So you won't see any of those. But that's how you're able to see the urgent messages. That's number 11. How about number 12? Disabling a bookie. This will be the last question for this video. How do you disable a bookie? Okay, so to disable a bookie, let's just say, listen, oh man, Spank, this U-Wager thing you got going, I think that feed is dead. They're wrong. So it's messing up my best column. And I don't want to look at this line. Instead of calling us and saying U-Wager, which you can do, and I'm going to show you how to do that too, you could disable that bookmaker. So the way you would do it is you would right click on U-Wager and you would say disable bookie. So when you disable that bookie, notice how U-Wager has all these lines across it. So that means U-Wager now is no longer factored into anything that you have, whether it be line alerts, line moves, line seekers, limit changes, anything you think the best line, the consensus line, it will not be used in. All the things that you've used U-Wager in is no longer considered until you reactivate it. And you'll still see the lines change, you'll still see colors, but you might say, listen, this is down right now. So until I see colors coming in, or I still see it coming in where I think it's back up, I'm going to keep it disabled. If you want to enable it, right click on U-Wager, enable bookie, boom, U-Wager's back in action. All the calculations are there and it's being used. Reporting a bad line. Okay, if you notice a bad line, and there's always bad lines, guys, we appreciate you reporting it. The way you would do it is this. I'm going to just report a bad line. I'm going to just say, okay, I'll go to this Pinnacle, 881 Brown Princeton. The Ivies are playing so I'm going to say report bad line. Oh yeah, instead of disabling book, you could also disable a line. So if I want to say this, I just think this line is messed up, I don't want to disable the entire bookie, you could disable that line by just clicking disable line, and then notice how that line, Brown Princeton at Pinnacle, is no longer, it's unhighlighted. So then if you want to re-enable it, you just do that. So you could do it on the bookie granular level, you could do it on the line level. Now, when you disable a line, it's going to disable all lines for that game. So if I disabled U-Wager, for instance, on this Brown Princeton, notice how the spread totals there, and also the money line is disabled as well. Everything would be disabled on that. You can't just disable one or the other, because usually if one is broken, everything else is broken. So we make it so that you just disable it all, and then when you want to re-enable it, of course, you just enable it that way. So that's also part of that. Reporting a bad line. Okay, let's just say something looks out of whack, something's crazy, you want to report it. The way you would do so is this. You would right click on a line, report bad line. We have all this information that's sent to us. It gives me my name. Is the line flipped? If you notice a flipped line, meaning the favorite's really the dog's really the favorite, just check that box off. Otherwise, don't check that off. And then make me a comment. Give us a comment that we could use. Don't just say wrong, because if you say wrong, it's not going to help us as much. Say the money line is wrong. Say money line wrong. Supposed to be minus 135. Something like that. Okay. Now I got to put this as a test so that my guys don't believe this is a real report, because my guys, when something like this happens, we get notified of them. So then we'll click submit, and then boom, it's been notified. Don't think you got to do it 35 times. One time is good enough. We're getting it. We're going to redo, we're going to look at it, and then we're going to adjust accordingly, and we'll try to solve that problem. And that's it. I hopefully everybody understood everything we talked about today. I'm going to make a giant FAQ video later on soon in the next couple of weeks that will encompass everything. I'm going to go through every single thing on SpankOdds. We'll start from a file all the way to columns, line alerts, game. We'll do it all again. Tab, window, setting, help, the whole 9 yards. We'll go through everything, all these buttons, the whole thing, and I'll take you step by step on how to use the thing. It's most of it's self-explanatory. Probably should have made a manual about it, but watch the other videos. There's so many of them on the YouTube channel. Also, keep in mind that if you ever need help, there's always this little help icon there. If you open that, it will open up your browser to take you to the main video. If you need help with something else, let's just say line moves, you see that icon right there. You could click to watch the instructional video. There's all these little YouTube question mark links all over the application to be able to help you out. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it for using SpankOdds. It's still free, and we love the feedback we've been getting. Really appreciate that. And we're only getting better. Just, we're just going to keep trying to get better and better and better. So thanks so much for the time. Until next time.